What is up, everyone, and welcome to round one of the Emerald City Trolls 2025 Pacific Old School Tournament. We got two rad decks to show you, so let's get into those deck lists. First up, we have David N with this mono black mid-range deck. Now, at first glance, you do see those chains of Mephistopheles, but I'm not seeing any payoffs for it. No Howling Mines, nothing like that. I think they're in there just for a pure draw deterrent, as he doesn't seem to have a way to force his opponent to draw any extra cards. Speaking of deterrents, there's also a one of City of Bottle in here as a hedge against all of the Arabian Nights cards that are pretty prevalent in the format. Beyond that, this is pretty much just, like I said, mono black mid-range. We do have some low drop aggressive creatures with a Black Knight, Initiates of the Ebon Hand, 4 Order of the Ebon Hand, and of course the quintessential 4 Hypnotic Specters. For a top end threat, he is running 3 Suchis, and then getting into the spells, we have 2 Underworld Dreams in the main, a Chaos Orb of course, a Black Lotus, Mox Jet, 2 Terrors, 2 Drain Lives, the City in a Bottle that I mentioned, Demonic Tutor, 2 Paralyze, 4 Dark Ritual, 4 Sinkhole, and 4 Hymn to Turok. As for lands, he's running 4 Strips, 4 Factories, as a monocolor deck probably should be doing, a single Urborg, and a whole mess of swamps. In the sideboard, he has the 3rd and 4th Underworld Dreams, 2 Aelophiles, the 3rd Terror, 3 Glooms, 2 Nevinral's Discs, because this deck has no way to deal with enchantments once they're on the board, the 4th Suchi, the 3rd Drain Life, and 3 Sengir Vampires. Now, you know me, I'm a big mono black fan, and this deck looks like a ton of fun, so I'm excited to see how it plays. But before we do that, let's see who he's playing against. Next up is Nick F with one of the coolest decks I've seen, full of misprints, miscuts, cool alt arts, and I think even some legitimate test cards too, which is very cool to see. I'm sure there's some very interesting stories behind a lot of these cards, most of which I've never even seen before, but let's just dive into the list and I'll slowly scroll through this deck photo as well while we go through it, because there's a lot to look at. First up, we have a single Banalish hero for Savannah Lions, beautifully drawn by what looks like Daniel Gellin, which is also very cool because I don't think he really does altars anymore. Next up, we have 4 Ithkin Javelineers, including what looks to be a test print, 3 Crusades, 4 Order of Litbeer, 3 White Knights, which I imagine are going to be pretty good in this matchup, 2 Mesa Pegasus, 1 Healing Salve, 2 Preachers, 1 Thunder Spirit, 2 Land Tax, 3 Armageddon, 3 Disenchants, 4 Swords, including a really cool looking crimped one, 1 Chaos Orb, 1 Mox Pearl, 1 Army of Allah, 1 Factory, 4 Strips, and a whole bunch of really cool planes, including what looks like Artist Proofs from Jesper, miscuts, and some really cool signatures. Oh, and there is a Caracas down there as well. As for the sideboard, he's got 2 City in a Bottle, 4 Dust to Dust, the 4th Disenchant, 1 Spirit Link, 2 cards which I'm not entirely sure what they are. A little tough to recognize based off of the art on top. Let me know below if you know what they are. The 2nd Healing Salve, a Circle of Protection red, a Karma, and 2 Sarah Angels, one of which is that famous Spanish blue misprint. Overall, just a super rad list. Definitely one of the best I've ever seen, and very excited to have it on the channel. It's going to be very hard to commentate on to figure out what exactly he's playing, but I'm going to do my best. So without further ado, let's get into the games. And here we go. David is on the left, Nick is on the right. Looks like we're gonna get a roll to see who goes first. You guys may notice that FBI badge that Nick has. I didn't want to put it in the event description because of copyright, but this event was all X-Files themed, which was super cool. Not a show that I personally have a lot of connection with, but the Friday event that we did before this main Saturday event was X-Files themed with custom X-Files cards and actually Pogs. It was a ton of fun, and unfortunately we didn't get coverage for that, but looks like Nick is actually going to be mulliganing here, so we're going to cut to when he has a keepable hand. Okay, Nick looking for a keepable 6. This is a very classic matchup, by the way. White versus mono black. Both players having cards with the other color in their deck too. I think David actually having the advantage here with 4 Ebon Hands. All right, looks like Nick does have a keepable 6. And here we go. David leading us off. Swamp go. No ritual into hippie. Nothing like that. Looks like he does have a chains in his hand. I don't know if that'll be super effective in this matchup. All right, and there's a turn 1 land tax. off of a Mox Pearl and a Savannah Lions. Say go. And David is admiring all the cool stuff that just showed up in front of him. Alright, strip here for the plains. That will trigger the land tax, and David's just going to pass here. So land tax trigger. Now, actually, I have to look up wording on land tax, because chains with land tax could be pretty nasty. But I believe land tax is a search. Yeah, it's search. Okay, so it's not technically a draw, so chains does not trigger off of land tax. Just had to double check. And Nick gonna go find 3 of the 4 beautiful artist proof planes that he has. Jesper Myfors actually was at this event as well. Okay, gonna get in for 2 with the Savannah Lions. Play planes for turn. Or not, deciding if he wants to play something else. Plays his own strip. Strip the swamp, say go. Choosing to be a little more aggressive here. There's a swamp. And that will trigger the land tax, because David just is passing it back to Nick. David not being able to do a lot here. He does have some sinkholes as well. A lot of land destruction on these early turns, so seeing a land tax is definitely not what you want early on. I have to imagine some of that land destruction coming out of David's deck in game 2. It's great when it puts you ahead, but when your opponent is drawing so many cards. Now, Nick will have to discard some lands here, I believe, if he doesn't start playing out his hand more. Okay, there's a white knight, and looks like he has 8 in hand or 7. Looks like 7. Okay. Swamp for David. Can you do anything? There's a terror. Obviously can't target the white knight there, but can at least get the Savannah Lions. Yep. Speaking of stuff coming in from David's sideboard, those Aeleophiles or Aeleopiles, or however you pronounce it, are definitely coming in. Perfect answers to these white knights and Whirling Dervishes if you're ever against green for sure. Alright, tapping 3. And there's the Thunder Spirit. I would love to know the story behind these. Are these actual test cards? If so, that is incredibly rad. They look like they could be. And I would not be surprised if Nick was actually playing with them. Alright, there's a swamp. And are we just going for a hippie here? Right, looks like it. So what's kind of funny about the Thunder Spirit as well is the stats on the card are actually vastly different than what they ended up. I just noticed that it's a 6 white for a 5/6. That's actually not what Thunder Spirit is anymore, which is kind of a cool insight on how the game evolved. All right, Thunder Spirit and White Knight getting in for 5, I believe. I believe Thunder Spirit's a 3. Or is it a 2/3? It might be a 2/3. I'm kind of blanking. And Google is being slow. Alright, we got an orb flip here on a swamp. Okay, Thunder Spirit is a 2/2 first strike. Sorry. So even better answer against the hippie, but Nick's hand is so inundated with lands, he doesn't seem to really mind too much if hippie gets in for a little bit. He is going full aggressive at this point. And David is down to 10. Alright, there's a Mind Twist in David's hand. He is going to get in for a free 2. Take Nick down to 8 for the first time. Or 18, sorry, for the first time this game. Alright, hits an Army of Allah. Probably the one card Nick wanted to actually keep in hand. Being able to present lethal damage out of nowhere. And do you Mind Twist here? Using the Sinkhole doesn't seem very good. Using the Strip doesn't seem very good. Your opponent just has so many lands. Spending your mana on land destruction is very inefficient, especially when their deck seems to be, at least so far, very efficient. Okay, there's a Mind Twist for just one, it looks like. Alright, hit a plains. With all those plains in hand, it was bound to happen. Okay, untap, draw. And getting in for another 4. Nick very happy to continue this race. Gonna play a land for turn, not really caring about the land tax at this point. And is gonna play out a Preacher. So what if I just steal that hippie? Also very cool, I just noticed that is a Quinn Hoover signed Preacher. A little jealous. So Preacher lets you take control of a creature of your opponent's choice. If your opponent has one creature, like David currently does, you just get the hippie. Notably, the hippie coming under Nick's control does not mean it can attack. Okay, there's a chains. Yeah, I'm just going to swing it with the hippie because he's going to lose it anyways. And instead, it's just going to get swords. All right. Well, Preacher is a creature. It can deal damage. It's just a 1/1, but Nick looking to deal 5 here, and if he has another pump spell, I think he only had one Army of Allah, but if he has a Crusade, that is basically game. That's 2 mana. Is that a Crusade? It is a Crusade. That is lethal on board. Swing for 8. It should be 8, right? All right, we're either way, we're gonna go to game number 2. All right, here we are in game number 2. Nick showing a masterclass in why White Weenie can be so deadly with that turn 1, basically unanswered for most of the game, Savannah Lion. Now, David probably did bring in quite a bit here, maybe even bringing in the disc at this point to board wipe as just kind of a release valve. All right, looks like Nick is going to be mulliganing again here, so we're going to cut to when he has a keepable hand. Okay. Nick looking for a keepable 6 here. See what he can find. Looks like he's got a good hand, and David's going to lead us off once again. Ooh, David does have a Dark Ritual. Are we going to see my favorite play in Magic? Dark Ritual hippie? Underworld Dreams. That's still pretty good. It is against a white deck, though, with lots of disenchant effects, but Nick did not see an Underworld Dreams last game. There's a strip for the swamp, past you. So it's possible Nick did bring out some enchantment hate. Although he did see the Chains of Mistopheles, so he could be assuming those chains are actually there for more than, well, just preventing your opponent from doing unfair things. But there's a land tax for Nick and pass back. Another strip for David, letting Nick trigger the land tax here. I wonder if he's trying to build up mana for something and is not too worried about the lands that Nick will have in hand. All right, opting for a different set of lands here. Not going with the artist proofs. Maybe he already has most of them in hand, who knows? And I was wrong, actually. It's not a set of 4 artist proofs, it's a set of 3. But yeah, this event was a ton of fun. If you're ever in the Seattle area or tempted to go to the Seattle Old School event, the Trolls and Sean, the main TO, put on just an absolutely amazing event. GP level artists, really good food, very fun 2-day event. All right, there's Ithkin Javelineer. I really can't recommend it enough, honestly. Like, yeah, this event was one of my favorite old school events I've ever been to. Okay, Javelineer coming down and just passing back. Nick looking to get a threat on board because that Underworld Dreams is a clock. I mean, it's a 17 turn clock. Okay, we're gonna double strip the plains. Nick deciding if he wants to do anything here before that happens. Alright, healing salve to gain 3. Yeah. That's almost as good as Dark Ritual. And David having to read it because it's not really that commonly played. I was joking. It's not on the same level as Dark Ritual. It's the same series as Dark Ritual and Lightning Bolt and Ancestral Recall. But it sure is probably the worst option. Giant Growth, that's the green one. Alright, getting in with 1 with the Javelineer. Playing it aloud for turn. Say go. A little reminder on top to take damage whenever draws happen. Very important. I'm assuming all damage has been captured at this point. I don't think I noticed anything missing. Alright, Javelineer getting in for another 1. Down to 18. Do we have another White Knight? We do. Well, at least half a 1. Okay, there's a Mishra's Factory. Say go. And David a little stuck on lands, a little stuck on black mana as well. Only having that 1 swamp at the beginning of the game and unfortunately getting stripped away. Alright, we're going to go to combat. Swing in for 3. Factory can't do anything about this yet. Still needs 1 more land. But Factory is a very good answer to a White Knight, assuming your opponent doesn't have swords or disenchant or any of that sort of thing. Alright, we got a Banalish Hero. 1/1 with banding. And yes, unfortunately, David 7 in hand, but nothing to do with it. Has no swamps. And we're just going to be swinging in with the team. Take 4. And Nick's deck is just humming along. And that's still not a land, so I'm afraid David may be at the point where this becomes unwinnable. I suppose he could get a Swamp Dark Ritual into a disc if he has one in hand. Next turn, Wrath the board to stave off some time, but yeah, swinging in again for 4. Alright, David, you got 2 turns to get yourself out of this. There's a swamp. He does have... Does he have a terror? I mean, he can animate the factory. That does stave off the White Knight, assuming that Nick doesn't have a swords, which chances of Nick having a swords is pretty high. He's got a full grip of cards, hasn't had to use any creature removal yet. Got 4 in the deck. Okay, there's a Paralyze on the Ithcan Javelineer. And is just going to pass. Nick dropping to 14. That Underworld Dreams is doing a lot of work. Alright, go swing for 3. Down to 4. Oh, is there an Army of Allah here for lethal? No, there's an Armageddon. That is pretty much the nail in the coffin. Alright, all lands are gone. And I think David just admitting defeat here, and that is going to be game. Nick taking it down in a clean 2-0. All right. Well, unfortunate mana troubles for David there in game 2, but Nick showing exactly why White Weenie is such a fun and powerful deck, and also just an incredibly rad deck again. Thanks all you guys for watching. If you made it this far, make sure to like and subscribe. It is the best way to support the channel. And if you already are subscribed, think about joining that Patreon. You'll notice all these wonderful people's names on screen currently. These are our current patrons. You guys are all amazing. If you'd like to join them, the link is in the video description or displayed on screen. All the money I make from this channel goes towards gear upgrades, travel expenses to go to tournaments like this one up in Seattle, and just making more videos. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.